Brothers and sisters, today's topic of Treasures for the Soul is Reminders on Enjoying Heart-to-Heart with the Father. In this message, we're reminded to practice beholding the Father, realize that He is on the throne with infinite glory, as described in Revelation chapter 4. We also see that the infinite Lord is at the right hand of the Father, and our life is bound up with the Father's life. Some Bible verses can help us to meditate on the Father and pray to Him more often. For instance, Psalm 32 verse 8 helps us to realize that the Father instructs, teaches, and counsels us with His eye upon us. Abba has involved Himself in our life and daily living. Let's realize Him more often.
Every day, we behold the Father and realize that He is on the throne. Revelation chapter 4 tells us that the Father has infinite glory and beauty. As seen by Stephen, the Son of Man is standing at the right hand of God. I have believed in the Lord for 60 years. I treasure calling to the Lord every day. I don't just call Him Lord, but I especially enjoy calling Him Lord, the love of my youth. This reminds me of the days when I first believed. Indeed, He is the love of my youth. The Lord's passion, grace, and love are tremendous. I also treasure so much that God is my dearest Father. Therefore, every day we should realize that our life is bound up with Abba's life. I want to share some tips with you on enjoying being heart-to-heart with the Father. When we talk to God, oftentimes we talk to the Lord. We may not talk to the Father as much. The same goes for Bible reading. When we read about God or Yahweh in Psalm, for example, we are more likely to think of the Lord. Yahweh is the everlasting and self-existing Lord. Actually, the Father is Yahweh, and so is the Lord. Therefore, Yahweh can refer to both the Father and the Lord. Isaiah 53 verse 6 reads, "And the Lord," or Yahweh in the Chinese translation, "has laid on Him the iniquity of us all." In this verse, the Lord was referring to the Father. But in some cases, Yahweh refers to the Lord. We often direct our thoughts to the Lord when we read Psalm. But as a matter of fact, we can also think of the Father in many cases. This will help us better understand the love of the Father. For example, Psalm 32 gives us warmth when we read it as words from the Father. However, we do need to be mindful that in some cases, such as prophecies specifically about the Lord, these cannot be used for the Father. For those scriptures that can be applied to both the Father and the Lord, applying them to the Father gives us a better understanding and deeper enjoyment of the Father. Of course, for the scriptures that specifically refer to the Lord, we cannot read them by applying them to the Father. In the Old Testament, the understanding of the Father and the Lord were not that clear. Psalm 32 verses 8-9 reads, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Be not like a horse or a mule, without understanding, which must be curbed with bit and bridle, or it will not stay near you." This passage tells us that God will instruct us. It's true that the Lord will instruct and gaze upon us. He will teach us in the way we should go. It is also appropriate to consider this passage as words from the Father. It helps me a lot when I think of the Father instructing and teaching me in the way I should go. I feel the intimacy with the Father. He counsels me with His eye upon me. Aren't you happy to hear the words from the Father? He is so close and intimate with you when He says, I will teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Psalm 139 verse 3 reads, You search out my path and my lying down. Psalm 139 verse 18 reads, I awake and I am still with you. We can read these verses with respect to the Father. The Father is with me through the night. His eyes are on me. When we think of God, we know that the Father also plays a part. Though we often think of the Lord more than the Father, the reality is that the Father is also very involved. Seeing the Father more is very helpful to us.